Welcome back, everybody. Sorry for that little hiccup there. Um,
What?
yeah, no, that's not what that is. Um, but we're back. Timberwolves forgot how to lose, and they remembered today.
They remembered.
um, so we're here to talk about a loss. We play again tomorrow in Florida, but obviously a disappointing loss. The Magic are like 18 and 20 or something like that,
18
or
and
18 and
50.
50. I don't.
That would
We're a
be a
little bit
question.
further in the season. Um, and they've beat us before the season. I think this is like them sweeping us or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Um, regardless, disappointing loss. You never want to lose to a team like this. Even if you've won 6 games in a row, you don't want to lose to this team. The only thing I'll say is that, if we have to lose to one team this year, I can accept the Magic. I can accept the Magic. I can't accept uh teams like Memphis or uh, there's other teams that I don't want to lose to.
Try hard.
Um, this one I don't want to lose to bad teams because these are games that we should just be winning, no doubt. Um, but we didn't. So, um, that's my immediate reaction. My immediate overreaction is Wolves are back. The bad Wolves are back, and we should all panic. But we had some injuries this game. We had some bad shot taking and not really the ability to make many shots tonight. And realistically, if we don't chuck a bunch of threes in the fourth quarter and just take some real shots, I think we actually have a chance. Also, Jared brings up a great point. Ed Malloy, so there is an addition onto this. Um, but yeah, what are your initial thoughts, cameraless Ashwin?
Back. I'm back like the Wolves are back.
Yeah,
The game preview. Former Florida State star Malik Beasley is making a triumphant return to Sunshine State. He sure did. He
yeah,
sure did. I
yeah.
like that we reward players for previous behavior, like the previous game behavior and stuff like that. Going for 33 off of just making threes is awesome. When has that ever really been sustainable? When has that ever, we haven't seen that before. We saw someone kind of kill it off the bench and then we didn't see him again. And I kind of question methods and like kind of mentalities tonight more than anything. I'm not really sad or disappointed or frustrated. Disappointed, sure. Not frustrated, not mad or anything. But like Finch, I don't think had a grasp on this game, and I don't think Cat knew what the fuck he was doing out there. I thought there was a couple clear and present situations that needed to have been a different play, and we watched our team chuck our way to a loss.
Yeah, I think the fourth quarter in general, we lost the game in the third quarter, but we didn't save ourselves when we could in the fourth quarter. The
Yeah.
third quarter became that kind of slippery slope of like, oh gosh, the other team's scoring and they can't stop. And realistically, the Magic, I imagine if you look at the third quarter for the Magic, yeah, 37 points. Although they had 36 in the second, it just felt like they never stopped scoring. And when we came out of the half, both teams were going back to back to back to back to back to back. And I'm not even exaggerating with the back to backs. Like we hit like 6 threes back to back in a row, both teams, but they just kept going. This is something that we kind of talked about earlier in the season, or at least I don't know. I don't remember. Maybe this is just my take. Maybe this is a bad take. I don't know. But it was um it, the Timberwolves. They don't really have like a style. I know people say they have a style. I don't really see that style so emphasized game to game. Um, this is like we just play teams and try to beat them at their style. Which, hey, if you can beat teams at their style, at their play speed, that's fantastic. Then you literally beat everyone. But um, obviously, it's a lot easier to play at your own style and pace and everything because you're used to it and you practice it. But and we're going to be talking about coaching a little bit tonight, like Ashwin said, but like since Finch's whole thing is flow, um, flow goes with what the other team is going to do too. So, yeah, the third quarter was where I got super frustrated tonight. But even in the Discord, I was like, hey, fourth quarter is where like big teams, big boy teams come to play and show up. And to be completely honest, the Timberwolves, although they were chucking, they were getting looks. They were getting looks, and I don't like that they were chucking up those threes. Like there was those three possessions in a row. It was like a three from D'Lo, a three from Beasley, and then a three from Cat or something like that. I don't know, something of that variety. And it was just like, what are we doing? Literally, like we're just chucking for no reason, and it's almost the exact opposite of any other Timberwolves game we've seen this year, where people aren't selfish. It was suddenly like each one of those players individually took turns being like, okay, who is going to be the savior of this game? And they all missed. um, and then on top of it, another thing, after they called the timeout, thankfully Finch, that was one of the things that I did like about Finch tonight, was he called the timeout after that happened. He's like, hey, let's regroup.
And Ant
And
shoots a three.
well, yeah, Ant was super mad coming out into that timeout because he was looking at Towns like, why are we taking like hero ball shots? So I was like, okay, this is actually a pretty mature sign from Ant. Like if Ant is like leading the team right now of like, hey, don't take hero ball shots. What does he do the minute we come out of the timeout? He shoots a three. He waves off everyone, takes a three, clanks it instantly. Like, I don't know. This is really frustrating. Um, but yeah, I mean, did you see something different in that fourth quarter, or did you see that same thing?
I saw a team being really young, showing its youth, not knowing how to close, not knowing how to run an offense, versus a team who is bottom five in the league, and they felt emboldened to just chuck their way into a win. I've said it already. I'll say it again. You live and die by the three, but if the three's not falling, you have to have a secondary option. And we didn't have any offensive flow. It didn't seem like anyone was passing to an open man, running any play whatsoever. It seemed like Towns was not in sync with D'Lo at all. And well, okay, where was the bread and butter give and go? Where was the bread and butter, pick and roll? Mo Bamba and Wendell Carter is enough for you to say let's run something else. Let's toss our game plan in the shitter and just chuck up threes. We're not a team that has Stephen Curry on it. We're a team that needs to still, yes, find its identity and play Timberwolves basketball in the meantime. We were down Patrick Beverly and down Jared Vanderbilt, and it looked like we lost the head and the body and the torso of our whoever the fuck creature we are, because we didn't have anything to stand on. We were just headless. Like it didn't seem like we came to close this game out and wanted to close this game out. We got within one. There was a timely substitution with J-Mac coming back in for Torian Prince or something, who looked kind of bad in the fourth quarter. Mm-hmm. And Jaden kind of helped will this team back in with a couple dunks and whatever it was. Play with Beasley, play with D'Lo. That was awesome to see. That was the last of whatever the fuck we did. I don't know. I'm confused by how the coach decided to let the bench run as long as they did. Let Noel not play in the extended minutes in the fourth or at all. And discipline is the name of this fucking the mantra of this team, because we didn't have it today. We had Cat go back to former Cat, the Cat of old, the Cat of yore, the Cat of stray. And 3 fouls in the first quarter kills all rhythm. What are we trying to do here? We're trying to just burn a team out, and you can't play like this on a consistent basis and expect to win.
Yeah.
We're playing G League teams, and now we play a decent team, even though they're bottom in the East. You can't expect it. Mm-hmm. You can't expect to just burn teams out with the three.
And you bring up a good point. I talked about the third quarter being the downfall of this game. The downfall was, the fourth, but also Towns getting 3 fouls right off the bat. Also, Finch putting him out there in situations to even accrue. Like, we have to save these for the end of the game. Towns, and his although he's been so much better lately, that he's still a high likelihood to pick up another foul. Like, that's just a very high likelihood. And especially the third foul that he had was just such BS, where he's just literally, he's about to take a charge, and then he sticks his arm out as the defender goes out. He just quickly does this, like the stupidest thing. It was it's like a stupid call, but it's also a stupid foul. But then also Nas comes in. We at a point had both of them, I think at halftime, or maybe it was third quarter, had 4 fouls on each of them. Yeah.
No.
And you can't have that, especially against a team with actual bigs like Mo Bamba, which is exactly why I hammered the over-under on Mo Bamba's over-under on Prize Picks tonight, which was 5.5 rebounds. I think he ended up with maybe only 9 or 10, but let me
12.
see.
Yep.
12. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Like, how ridiculous of an over-under is that against the Timberwolves? But, I think it was just obvious. Also, apparently Mo Bamba is the best three-point shooter on the floor tonight. Pretty insane. And then Wendell Carter Jr. has had a bunch of good games lately, rebounding and scoring. So, you have two bigs that are playing really well. You cannot have your only two bigs on the team get 4 fouls in like 24 minutes of play. It just can't happen.
Yeah. I'm just going to echo what I've been saying. Sorry, I was listening, but also kind of try to craft my own little point here to sound smart and to, fill in the algorithms with built from day one. Like, share, subscribe, tweet, motherfuckers. 0 for 13 from the 3-point line in the fourth quarter. We were 8 for 13 from the paint. We had 1 free throw. In my opinion, that is a recipe for getting blown out. That, in my opinion, that is a recipe that the team doesn't know what the fuck they're doing. And Finch needed to have burned all of his timeouts in that fourth quarter just to stop any amount of bleeding. And I don't know if he had enough of them. So, this loss is on every single player on that team tonight. No finger pointing or whatever, but it's just a reality here. We're not as good as we think we are. We are above 500. That's fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
We're on a good winning streak vibe. The culture is changing. I don't know what really culture is right now on this team, but the culture is changing. Tomorrow freaking matters. Let's see what happens between right now and the loss and how it stings, and whoever freaking talks in postgame and says this is not good enough. We weren't playing Timberwolves basketball with a bunch of caps lock. Let's see what happens tomorrow, because tomorrow is the team to beat.
Mm-hmm.
If we want to show who we are and what we want to be and who we can be. Because, yeah, we're playing against Franz Wagner and Mo Wagner and the other Wagners. But tomorrow is a litmus test, really, like to see if we can actually fare against the top echelon of the teams.
Yeah.
My answer is I don't know what we're going to do. I don't know how we're going to look.
Mm-hmm.
I'm worried if we don't have Beverly in with his ear, which is crazy that he was sitting out after an ear. Ears bend, but I guess they bleed apparently too. And I don't know what was happening with Vando, but apparently Vando was playing hurt and played a lot longer than he should hurt.
Yeah. Both those things. Okay, so I want to get into Pat Bev and into Vando, but first I'm going to get into a little special thing we're going to do for anybody that's watching the VOD, not live, but watching the VOD. I guess you can do this if you're live now. I want you to leave a comment in the video. And what should that secret word be? It should be like window concept. Do window concept as the comment in the YouTube video. But anyways, on to
that was really special.
Cameron. It was, right? Super special. You should feel really special if you do that. And I don't know if this is fitting into what you were maybe trying to get at with the algorithm and everything, and I feel like maybe I'm playing off this wrong, but I mean, another huge factor in this game. I mean, we just saw Pat Bev's podcast come out with JJ Redick. Super interesting. If you haven't seen it, you should definitely go check it out. The few moments that he talks about Ant, I don't think I've ever been more excited for a Timberwolves player in my life. But that's Pat Bev just hyping up somebody, but still, like, the way he says it is like, you just gotta listen to it. But I mean, Pat Bev, he prides himself on being that leader. If in that interview, he's talking about he's come in and changed the culture of a Minnesota Timberwolves team that has not really been that successful for the past two decades. And he's making a lot of arguments about like his pay and like he should be getting paid like $100+ million. I mean, he's not saying that that's what should happen, but he's saying like, I mean, you have players. He specifically called out Spencer Dinwiddie for some reason. I don't know why. But I was kind of hoping that he would maybe say something more like Wiggins. I mean, Wiggins is a prime example of somebody who got paid that probably should not have been paid, especially for the role that he's playing on the Warriors right now as like a fourth or fifth option, like that's kind of crazy. pay $30+ million. And obviously Pat Bev has a way greater impact on winning and success than like an Andrew Wiggins does, but he only gets paid half or less. But anyways, what I was gonna say about tonight's game in particular is like we lost Pat Bev. Pat Bev had 3 fouls in the first quarter too, 3 in the first quarter, and then he got on the third foul, he got injured. So it's like
in 4 minutes too.
Yeah, in 4 minutes. Yeah, it was so quick, and Pat Bev was playing great. He had 3 threes or 2 threes. Yeah, 3 threes. Yeah, he was playing fantastic. So that's another big blow to the team. I guess having Baby Mac not out there could also be a part of that, because then we only had to rely on D'Lo, who was meh tonight. It wasn't like terrible, but I don't think it was good. But then the last thing that I do kind of want to touch on, at least me personally, before we get into tier list type things, is and schedule, but is Vanderbilt. Like you were saying, he was out there injured. He came in at a point where he was limping, and then he just got worse. And it's starting to make me question, this is becoming a trend with the Timberwolves and health. Like, we have players going out there, we were always worried during like the Tibbs days that people were going to get tired because like, oh, they're playing 40+ minutes a night and Tibbs doesn't give a fuck. But it's doing? But tonight, I mean, it like Finch seems like he cares, but also Vando's out there limping for the whole game. I don't understand. What do you think do you think that's a coaching thing? Do you think that's a player thing? Do you think that's like the bench doing this?
I would say 100% all of the above. We lack size. Orlando, Miami, these teams out here have so much size. Vando is part of the answer to that, but Vando hobbled is a detriment. Like he hasn't been the same since he's been hobbling with injuries, and the way he plays can prolong small pains, and so small pains can become larger issues. We don't want to lose Vando here. We don't want to ruin his career. It's just a 6 seed versus a 7 seed. Let's just be healthy towards the end of the season, please. Rest his ass. And I don't understand why we needed to have him. We could have played Nathan Knight tonight. We could have had Nas and Cat together. Maybe that wouldn't have been the best, but it's something other than Vando pouting or not Vando struggling to even get up and down the floor.
Yeah, you're right. And I can't remember who said it in the Discord. Shout out the Discord. But it was, I think it was Gerald or JJ. I think it was Gerald who said, I'd much rather have Vando sit and be healthy and us fall to the 7th seed or stay in the 7th seed rather than fight and claw to the 6th seed just to be injured when we get there. It's like
reminiscent of when we got the 8th seed much. Like Butler was injured.
Exactly. 100%.
He came back early and we crawled our way into the 8th seed, and then he was effed that series.
That is the perfect analogy, yes. Because that's exactly what's happened. I mean, and that's what I don't want to happen. That's what is also why, I mean, I know I'm going off on all these tangents, but it's like,
no, you're good.
I don't want Ant to be playing these games. Ant actually looks pretty good. Ant looked pretty good tonight. He's still got things to work on his game because he's 20 and like he's only had 2 seasons in the league. And
it's the most important thing. Yeah, he's 20.
But he looked really good tonight. He had his moments tonight, both offensively and defensively. It's like, oh yes, this is the Ant that we had in the beginning of the season. I mean, he ended up, oh my god, he ended up with 25 points. Holy crap! But he definitely looked good, and it felt good for the most part out there.
Gotcha.
But it's like Ant shouldn't be playing against the Magic. I don't want to worry about Ant getting hurt playing the Magic, even if we lose, even if we lost this game by more. I just think this should have been a game where Cat played, D'Lo maybe played, Vando didn't play, Ant didn't play, because we play tomorrow. We play tomorrow against a good team, and like you were saying earlier, this is the game. I mean, we have had a week straight or more of bad teams that we've been playing, including tonight, even though we lost. And tomorrow is the real first game where we play somebody that matters. We beat the Warriors like a week or so ago, or 2 weeks ago, but And I guess we did beat the Grizzlies too. But tomorrow, I mean, they're the 1 seed in the East, unless it's changed since yesterday. They're one of the top seeds in the East, and you just got to win. You got to win these big games. Denver's
Yep.
having a terrible stretch of games. Another thing we were talking about. I mean, we don't have a great stretch of games either, but they have a really bad stretch of games, and they're still hurt. So this would be a time to take advantage. So it just hurts to lose to a team that's 18-50, regardless of whether they're good matchup or bad matchup against. It just hurts.
Feels good to win against teams. Gets a nice vibe in the locker room, feeling better than we are. But this is dose of reality in all respects. Like Chris Finch says on the Wolves loss tonight, he really said the game turned on us because we started to let our guard down. Where we were up by 18 or something, and then we just got completely shellacked. And we were making a lot of shots early, but he said he didn't really like the rhythm on our offense. So when the shots dried up, there was nothing to go to. I could tell in like 2 minutes of watching the game, we had no rhythm, and I don't understand. Like professionals here, right? Like we've been playing for 70 games together. This is your team to step up and find something, Cat. This is something that D'Lo, you're priding the rhythm and the culture as a course change on this franchise. Find something, like go to the pick and roll. I'm sorry. I go to the things that matter most, even if they have 5 centers out there. You have to just do what is kind of you trust in.
Yeah.
Do you trust in just ISO shooting? That's what I saw from Ant in the fourth quarter. He had one layup and then or that one or whatever, and then he thought he was God.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
D'Lo said it's just not like treating teams like we're supposed to beat them like that. I think we kind of just respect teams in that approach, especially when Ant was like talking post game about beating bad teams and like just wasting time fighting his rhythm against bad teams. Man, that was crazy to see that. Our approach should be and would be a little different with a better team. So any team, we got to treat them like they're the best team. I like what he said there, but I hate words, man. I got to see the action because we've said this 25 times already this season.
Yeah. And we've said this over the last 2 decades, every season, like last season when we were doing shows on Twitch, we said this after every game. I was like going down memory lane the other day and I'm like, oh my gosh, this was such a sad time. Like it was so bad. And it was the same words and we were tired of them then. So, and now we're another season in, given we're way better this season. And, like Godfrey says in the chat, like we're guaranteed a play-in spot, but, which I actually don't know if that's technically correct somehow, which is insane to me that we haven't officially like mathematically locked in a seed. I think it would take us losing every single game and the other teams winning every game. So I think it's like a less than a 1% chance kind of thing. But still, it's just, I don't want to hear it. We've heard it. We've criticized Cat a million times for that same statement because he's been here for 7 years to say it 7 years. But now D'Lo says it, Ant says it. It's like, I get it, and somewhat of this is just an NBA thing. Sometimes this happens. Good teams fall to bad teams. It can happen. There's a lot of games in the season. We just do it a lot, and that's what's frustrating. So,
because we're not a great team.
Yeah,
we're not.
And I'd say, I meant to respond to you earlier when you said that. This is kind of why I've been trying to like not be on cloud 9 over these past like few games because we've been playing bad teams, and we've been winning by a lot, which is good because in the past, we have lost these games / barely won these games. So it was definitely good to have like 3 or 4 just blowout victories in a row because that is not normal Timberwolves, even if it is against the same team 4 days in a row, basically. But, I just think that it's important to stay level-headed as a Timberwolves fan this year because guess what? It is still possible. I'm going to say this every show just so that I maybe reverse jinx myself. But, it is possible that the Timberwolves could lose both play-in games even if they have the 7 seed. We could lose against the Clippers and then the Lakers / Pelicans or somebody. They're going to have a lot to play for and we're going to be on our heels, So even if both are home games, it's still like nerve-wracking. So I'm not counting any victories of a season yet. But we can take mini victories here and there because I think 38-30 That's a good record, and we certainly both did not expect to be that high this point in the season. So I can accept
Yeah,
that, but
that's a good point. Denver lost yesterday, so I guess it helps. But we could have taken advantage of a team like Orlando and gained just a little bit, just a hair more. But let's do what we always do here on the show. Let's tell you to like and share and subscribe, and leave a comment. The keyword tonight for those sweet um, rhythms of algo is window concept.
yes, window
And
concepts.
let's get into the big boys. Big four. What do we call them? Over
Over unders.
unders.
Yeah, I was like, big four. What are we talking about?
So the over and under was set for 7.5 assists for D'Lo, and he went under with 7. The over under for threes for Beasley was set to 3.5, and he went under 2. Cole Anthony was set to 15.5 points, and
Yeah, 15.
crazy, he went under with 15. How does Big Boy do this? And we were set to 115.5 as the best offense in the league, as the third net best team in the league per Kirk Goldsworthy quadrant of wow. And we went under 110 points tonight, my friends, against the Orlando Magic. That does not cut it. Big Boy with the 4 for 4. I think I got 0 for 4 on that one.
Yeah, I don't know what I got, but it wasn't pretty. My prize book was okay. I think I came back even, but yeah, it was a weird night. But all right. Well, as you can see, we've got the tier list on the screen. If you're new here, obviously A1 is the best. Glenn Taylor is the worst. A1 is an unforgettable performance in a good way. And Wancho is, this is how I should say it. A1 is a unforgettable performance in a good way. Wancho is unforgettable performance in a bad way. And Glenn Taylor is perpetually terrible. So, and C is what we expect out of a player. So, we're going to go through the bench again pretty quickly tonight. I don't want to bore you with the bench. But we do have some things to say about certain bench players, maybe. And actually, we're going to start right off the bat. I don't even have them on the tier list. Let me put
I'll just do it.
back.
I'll do it for you.
Yeah,
Jalen Noel, 12.5 minutes, 5 for 5 from the field, 2 for 2 for 3. I can't read stats like you do. 12 points. What's your grade for him, my friend?
I mean, I'd probably give him. I mean, it's unfortunate because I'd probably give him an A, but I maybe just go with a B tonight just because he didn't get time. I mean, he was 5 for 5 from the field, like you said. So, like, obviously that's incredible. And I think that we could have used him out there third and fourth quarter a lot more. Sorry to interrupt if you're saying something, but he lately, I mean, he scores all the time. Like this is why he is different than like I always compare him to Shabazz, which is kind of a weird reference because Shabazz is just so wild. But he does have some of those tendencies, those selfish tendencies. But he actually can convert. He converts on his selfish attempts a lot of the time. And tonight he did. I still think he looks a little erratic out there when he's out there, and I know defensively he's not really all that. But no, I mean, I thought that this was a good game going on, a great scoring game for him, and he just didn't get minutes. And I assume this is some weird coach's punishment for defense or something. But in a game where offense, if we would have had any in the fourth quarter, would have won the game, I would have liked to have seen him.
Yeah, this is on Finch. I think my grade on him is incomplete, if not an A or B, because perfect. He did everything he could in the time given, and Finch chose Beasley over Noel. I would have actually liked to see Noel in the closing minutes there, and not anyone else taking shots, because what the hell, everyone was shooting up chunkers. So I don't even know what chunker means. All right, so Naz Reid. Where's number 11? And apparently is Eminem's, favorite player a thousand times. 2 for 7 from the floor, 5 fouls, 4 points. What do you got?
I mean, this is probably a D game from Naz. I mean, 5 fouls, you just can't do that, especially when Cat fouls out early. I feel like coming in as the backup big, especially when you're coming in because your starting center is in fouling trouble, that doesn't mean play aggressive like insanely. That means like be solid. And he was not solid tonight. Scoring wise, Rebounding wise, he's getting beat by Mo Bamba, who's got like an insane wingspan. So I don't really blame him so much for that. But it's still been a problem for Nas. You expect maybe you hope for a little bit more scoring, and even a little bit of scoring that he did and a little bit of rebounding that he did, it's just all overshadowed by how bad and how many fouls he had. So I think it's probably a D.
Biggest flaw in our roster right now is our backup center, and it might be one of our most important positions because we just need to stop the bleeding if we're down,
Yeah.
and we need to keep the lead if we're up. That big is so important. That matters so much in this league when our perennial all-star now apparently gets into foul trouble on a pretty like routine basis,
Yeah.
more than we would like at least. And he doesn't get to the free throw line like Embiid, so it doesn't matter, right? Like you get the 3 fouls in 4 minutes or whatever. Let's see you do something else. But he defends with his toes in the air. I don't know, man. I don't think that's a recipe for defense. Like he plays with his heels down, two heels down,
Yeah.
as he says.
Yeah.
That's going to get you beat every time. It's a trend that I hate to see. Our other all-star big does that too. Anyways, moving on. I agree with you for seeing so much of this game. Taurean Prince, 16 minutes, 2 for 7 as well. Didn't make a 3. A bunch of zeros, 4 points. Very similar stat line to Nasri, but at least he doesn't play the C. He does play the backup 3-4. What? Speaking of 3-4, let's do a little countdown. 4, 3, 2, 1. What's your grade?
D. I think it's very similar to Nas. It's similar in different ways because you don't necessarily expect Nas to come out and score 15 points. But that is something that you do. I mean, 10 to 15 points you do hope for from Taurean Prince. And if you're not going to get that, then you hope for a really good defense. I mean, the Magic scored 118 points tonight, and he scored at will most of the night. So, we didn't get really anything that we value out of Taurean Prince tonight. So I expect more. I give him a D.
Love it. I wouldn't put him anywhere else. I wish he was a more of a vet presence out there, especially when Beverly goes out. We need someone to step up, someone to stick out on our team, and it's not Cat, it's not D'Lo. Typically, it's got to be someone else. And Beverly wants a big contract, but he's often injured. We got to have someone else step up. Well, Taurean Prince is the next man up, and laying a stinker both on and off the floor. I don't know. I don't really care. This is a dud game. I'm going to move past it. He's been awesome for us recently. A big part of the reason why we're like looking decent. All right, we're trying to get through all the reserves here before we get to the starters. Malik Beasley coming from an A1 game, 32 minutes, almost 33 points in minutes. 3 for 10, however, 2 for 9 from 3. So he tried to do it too. Oh, he made a dunk. That's right. And a bunch of whatever, it doesn't matter. 8 points is the big deal here. Sticking point. What's your grade?
Probably a D. Maybe in between a D and a D plus. I mean, obviously you expect more from Beasley. Like 3 of 10 isn't great, but it also is going to happen. He's gonna have times where, like, as the role that he plays, stuff like this is going to happen. And I mean, you could make that argument, I guess, for any player, but him in particular, like he is told to shoot a lot, whether he's hot or cold, and he does that. And we just hope that it goes in. It didn't really go in tonight. He did get a couple steals, so that's cool. But yeah, overall, just kind of a struggle of a night. Could have used a few Beasley threes in that fourth quarter, but just didn't work out.
Yeah, this is an incomplete grade for me, as well as this is on Finch. I think it's a big fucking L for Finch right now because you can see what Beasley's going to be doing in 5 shots. And if he's not on, you don't play him that much. You play others.
Yeah.
You ride your starters. I think Beasley played probably 17, 18 minutes way too long tonight. Cool. Well, that sucks that he's a D, but let's move on because tomorrow's a much bigger night and expectations are higher than what I'm seeing right now in the tier list. Jane McDaniels, 6 for 9 from the floor. I wonder why it's field. Like, we just call it from the floor from now on. Floor attempts, I guess. Shooting from the floor. I don't know. It's weird, right? 32 minutes, minus 16, team high minus 16 apparently, but 12 points. What's your grade from him?
It's kind of funny. I see his stats and I'm like, that seems better because it felt like a negative 6 or a minus 16 out there. It feels like a negative 16 in Minnesota right now,
Low, I guess.
but no, he. I mean, it felt like when he was out there, the team wasn't doing well, which is kind of strange. I mean, obviously he's got that defensive presence out there, but you could kind of chalk this one up to a matchup issue, but like you also can't. I kind of want to give him a C just because this is like sort of close to what we expect out of him. I mean, I guess we hope for maybe a little bit better defense and less fouling, although he only had 2, but the 2 fouls were just like Ed Malloy fouls. So I'm going to go with a C tonight, I think, for Jaden.
Bench went to the line exactly 0 times tonight, and
oh my god,
it's not good enough. That's not going to cut it. Jaden McDaniels is now a playmaker for us, which is unbelievable. On both fronts, like that's great and everything, but also we're relying on him now to drive to the rim. He's not getting to the rim. He's not getting the free throw line. He's not getting his shot in. However, 6 for 9 is not bad tonight. I don't think we can really put anything negative on his name tonight. However, the starters are up next.
Woohoo!
Boo! What'd you say, boo?
I said woohoo, but I should have said boo.
Yeah. Well, there's no Ben Simmons starting tonight, but we do have 4 minutes of Patrick Beverly, which is, let's not even grade him.
I mean, I don't think I mean, the minutes that he played were fantastic, but other than the fouling,
3 is pretty incredible.
But
and a steal.
I just hope he's there tomorrow.
20 minutes for Vando. I think we kind of talked about him enough. Let's just I didn't even see him on the court because I was watching the majority of this game, right? And 1 for 3 from the field, 2 points. Just give him a grade.
Yeah, I
let's
think
move on.
I don't want to say go as far as Wancho because I do kind of put some of this on Finch. I mean, he shouldn't be out there limping.
On Finch tonight,
man, yeah, he shouldn't be out there limping.
He shouldn't be out there.
It's just ridiculous. So
we see it. Finch is on the court side, seeing it.
I know exactly.
I don't understand.
And that's what at first I was kind of like, maybe Finch just didn't see it and Vando's like hiding it or something. But then he's on the court playing for like 12 minutes. So it's like clear that he is out there struggling. And then he came back in the game again. Like, even if Finch isn't noticing it, an assistant is noticing it, a player is noticing it, it has to be noted and he has to come out of the game. It's just ridiculous that he was in there that long. If it's Finch's decision, it comes down to Finch. So it's Finch's decision. So I think I'm going to give Vando a D, but that is with a huge asterisk really for a lot of these players tonight that says Chris Finch contributed to this grade.
I mean, apparently he's supposed to defend the post. He's supposed to, grab steals and rebounds and blocks. He's supposed to be an irritant. It didn't seem like he was able to even, position himself to start. And, Wendell Carter, Mo Bamba, and the others beat us tonight. Last time we had Franz Wagner and Cole Anthony just pop off on us.
Yeah.
And the others tonight came to play. And so even Wagner's brother, who I don't even think played the last game. So
I don't think he did. I, for some reason, thought that he was on a different team. Oh, he used to play for the Wizards.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, okay.
He was traded this offseason, I think.
Oh, my God.
Or maybe recently, at least.
Crazy.
Well, but that's a lot of points from players that didn't do much in the last game. And, well, our response was to play an injured, hobbled power forward 20 minutes. I'm really just – it's inexcusable. But that's not on Jared. I just wish he would kind of be a little bit louder about just take me out and not put me back in. Mm-hmm. Also, I have questions. Coaching staff and everything. Pat, let's move on to I don't think Karl-Anthony Towns is the player to talk about the most right now. So let's go on a D-Lo, 39 minutes, which is team high 39 minutes, 4 for 12, which doesn't match 39 minutes there. 3 for 8 from 3, went to the free throw line once, 7 assists, which is a team high, 13 points. I'm going to look to you for a grade in 5, 2, 1.
I think it's another D. This is another bad game. Like I was saying earlier, like this was a pretty bad game. It wasn't like awful game. But it certainly wasn't good. If again, this is, I guess, could be another asterisk of a grade, but like, why is he out there for 39 minutes if all he's getting you is 13 points and 7 assists? I know that he is one of your only point guards right now, especially after Pat Bev went out. But as we noted earlier, not that Jalen Noel is some amazing point guard, but like Jalen Noel can score. So it's just it's frustrating. And I see I see Godfrey has contributed to the D'Lo section. But yeah, no, I just think this was not a good game from him. You need more from him. You need him driving, getting fouls. Towns is able to been driving a little bit more lately and getting fouls, but like you just need a lot more from your guard. Not to say that D'Lo hasn't been pretty good lately, but tonight just wasn't good.
This tier list is shaping up to be a whale face L, my friend.
Yes, it is.
D'Lo's a D, man. Godfrey said it perfectly. The big three didn't get done. When we are reliant on something to get our juices going, we're relying on so many other pieces than Towns, than Ant, than D'Lo, when it needs to be the $80 million contracts playing for their lives.
Mm-hmm.
When we need a game, we need a win, because every win matters, because the next 7 games are looking a little spicy, to say the least. D for D'Lo, man. I didn't like what I saw. I'm glad that he was out there giving it some amount of effort, but I could say that about every Philly player, right? I guess
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
That was such a non-comment. Let's go to Cat, because I think we should save Ant for last.
Okay.
Cat with 33 minutes, 6 for 14. Notably, Mo Bamba shot 10 for 15, more shots, 5 for 8 from 3. Better proficiency from 3, 27 points from Obama to 21 points for Cat. He got outplayed by a song that's named after him. 13 rebounds, 4 assists, 5 fouls, especially in that first quarter. That was a stat line that just went into its own storyline. What's your grade for Cat?
I think my grade is a D plus.
The best of the D's.
Yeah, I do think that I do agree. Obviously, Cat got dominated again by the Magic and their bigs. But we kind of predicted this coming into the game. This is a weakness for Cat for sure.
But he plays well against size, doesn't he? That's kind of been what we've seen.
I guess you're right. He does. But specifically against the Magic, he just can't handle it. Something they were doing last game is they were putting smalls on him and then having the big kind of just roam kind of softly in the paint to rotate over if needed. And I do think that Cat took advantage at sometimes. But I also think that Cat plays better against the big bigs when they are a top big, like Jokic, Embiid, Gobert. Those are the players that he really likes to play good against. And he can obviously beat like a Jonas or a Steven Adams or something like that just because he's faster. But yeah, no, this is a game where Mo Bamba outplayed him significantly. And we had some hero ball moments from Towns. I'm also going to knock his grade down just a little bit because I saw Anthony Edwards do an over the head pass and I was like, oh no, he's learning.
But
that actually converted into points. But either way, I don't want to see that. But no, I still am seeing things from Towns recently, even though this was not a good game, that are showing me signs of improvement. I still, I was very critical in the beginning of the season, and both of us were, and for good reason, because he wasn't doing certain things where he's driving and actually finishing, or getting to the line. He had some great defense in the fourth quarter at times too. He had a block, he had a great rebound right after that. So he's having moments, but at the same time, we're saying all of this, and we haven't even touched on the fact that he had 5 fouls again. So, that's just a huge down. That's why, if the fouls weren't there, you might be able to creep up into a C tonight. Because guess what? If you didn't have the fouls, you would have played an additional 5-10 minutes and had, who knows? You could have had a lot more impact on this game, which you just can't do. You just can't do as the D player on the team, even if it is a big three. Just can't have that happen.
He had 9 points after that first quarter in a 36-point first quarter. We're going by stats. I'm going mostly by stats because I admit I didn't watch much of this game. He scored 2, or he scored 3 in the second quarter. He scored 7 in the third. He scored 2 in the fourth. I don't like that rhythm. I don't understand why that is what it is. There is no consistency with this cat. I need 2 shots and a dunk every quarter. That needs to happen at minimum. And those shots need to be a 3. That means 5 shots a quarter. That means not 14 shots at the end of the game. Like I just need way more out of our 7th-year player. When times are tough, we're not getting a shot going. Offense needs to run through you. Get something in. Drive to the paint. Do what we have been doing. Why? I don't understand why you couldn't commit to what was getting you here. When you see both Obama and Wendell Carter out there, I don't get it, man. I will never understand. It's just 2 players. They are big. Who gives a shit? Drive on them. Get contact. Get to the line. Get them in foul trouble. They got you in foul trouble. I won't understand that.
Yeah, and a side note is, what is happening to Towns' 3-point shot?
Like ever since the
trophy. Why is this suddenly such a deal? Like this just doesn't make sense to me as to why this is happening.
It's premium. He only shows up for when it matters.
I guess, yeah, it's the big moments. But yeah, no, it's just frustrating. But yeah, I think he's a D tonight.
Yeah.
And
all right. I'm on the wrong tab here. 35 minutes for Anthony Edwards. 4 for 11 from 3, which is not terrible. 3 for 3 from the line, which means he at least tried. 3 rebounds, 5 assists, which maybe is my key stat here, and 25 points. Are you ready for a grade?
I think I'm ready. Yeah.
I'll count you up in 1, 2, 3.
Keep going. No.
4, 5.
I would give Ant. I'm gonna give him a B tonight. Maybe a B minus. Obviously, I try not to grade off of stats too much with the Ant and even Towns and D'Lo to some extent. Really, I guess any player. But 25 points is incredible. Coming off of being gone for a while, but just watching him play, seeing how comfortable he looks, seeing if he's gingerly walking around on his knees. Like obviously, I was watching Vando tonight and worried about Vando. But Edwards tonight, to me, kind of looked like the Edwards that we had in the beginning of the season. It was a very exciting version of Edwards. He's driving. He did miss a layup. That was kind of a easy layup, kind of, I guess. But 9 for 19 from the field. He played pretty good defense throughout the night. He had at least 1 steal, right? Yeah, 1 steal only. But I thought he played pretty good defense. I don't know. I felt pretty good about Ant tonight. I still don't think he should be playing. I like after the last game, I watched his post game, and he very confidently was like, "No, I didn't feel any of those things that I felt in the previous games where my knee hurt." And somebody else in our Discord, I can't remember if it was JJ or Godfrey or who it was, pointed out that they aren't wearing or Ant isn't wearing the mega knee brace things anymore. He's just having regular ice packs on him. So
interesting.
Yeah, so that's kind of an interesting development and promising, because obviously there was a part of us that kind of thought maybe Ant was just forcing it through and trying to play, and I was worried that him coming back now would be an Ant oh yeah, I'm just playing, I have to play. But if he's not using as much treatment that he had before, then that gives me, I guess, a little sign of hope. But just like the Timberwolves' expectations for the rest of the season, we should keep ourselves in check, because we just can't rely. I mean, this is a bad injury. This isn't an injury that is he tore his ACL, he's going to be out for 2 months or 2 years or whatever. It's more of this could come back at any moment. So we need to be cautious, and if there's any issues, rest him. So I don't know. Overall, I felt like I don't have any specific points other than his defense felt really good, and he looked springy enough to me out there and looked confident enough that I felt pretty good about Ant's game tonight. He did take a lot of threes, but beyond that, I feel pretty good.
Yeah, I think he's the only one that's really doing ISO ball, which takes away from the offensive juju that we've been building, and he wasn't really a part of, which is my main criticism. But his 5 assists pull it right back in, where he's finding others. He's finding Jaden. He's finding Noel. It's nice to see that. I want more from him, but he's 20. He's still kind of playing on instincts. He's not really playing in the system yet. I really feel strongly about that he is learning, but he's learning at his own pace. And you know, I can't frame a sentence right now because we just got a new subscriber. Poke Office, what's up, boy?
Yeah.
My friend, welcome to the family. The
Welcome.
built from day one. Sad family.
Sad family today, but we've been really happy for the last week.
Yeah, go tune into those other shows.
Yeah, go watch the VODs. Hashtag ad.
Make yourself feel better.
Yeah.
Go watch some Ant highlights because, yeah, what is that? Another thing about Ant right now, just real quick.
Mhm.
My passion, my like godlike like mentality of him is gone. It's waning. I need to find it again. And I'm finding myself like loving Jaden Mcdaniels, loving Patrick Beverly, and kind of, reassessing my feelings on Cat being more positive than negative and critical.
Yeah.
Loss and all that is I'm indifferent about Ant right now. I need something from him, and I want him healthy first, but I need him to just take it to another gear, because out of all the players here on our roster, who could take it to another gear right now reliably? That's Ant.
Yeah, he could. I mean, he's the one. You could argue, I guess, like we were kind of talking about this last episode with Cooper, like who is the X factor for the Timberwolves, and we were kind of talking about different meanings of X factor, and we were trying to be very quick because we only had a 40-minute limit on Zoom, but but you could make an argument for every player being the X factor depending on what your definition is. Because I mean, there are just so many important players to this team. I mean, we're a well-oiled machine that if one out of the 8 players that plays most frequently doesn't have a good night, it can throw everything off. And it really starts with the top 3. If the top 3 aren't playing well, but if Ant plays well, he can take over a game. Towns can do it too, but those two players can really take over a game at will. You can stop a shooter like D'Lo if you really, really want to, but then he has the ability to pass. And in the first half of this game, they were doubling Towns. Towns was passing out. Ant was hitting a couple threes. D'Lo hit a couple threes. Beasley hit a couple threes. So we had that ability. I mean, we had 6 threes in the first quarter or something, even more maybe. I don't know. And Jim, Pete, and Dave were talking about it. Speaking of which, I mean, this is, I guess, somewhat of a humble brag, but like not being at the game for the first time in a while was weird because I finally got to listen to Dave and Jim again. But they were bringing up a great point about like you gotta, like, if they're gonna double Towns, you gotta make them pay, and we were making them pay to some extent offensively, but kind of tying everything together here. We play to the other team's rhythm. We play to their style, and their style was back and forth. We're just gonna trade buckets, and we traded buckets and lost. That's what happens when you trade buckets with teams that can make shots.
Yeah, that's a great, astute observation. We don't have an identity. We're trying to find it. Game 70 or whatever it is. Frustrating game. But I'm not like mad. I'm going to be livid after tomorrow's game if it's a very similar output, very similar situation or outcome. Let's respond to this game. Let's take this loss and put it in a 2 or 3 game like bracket and see how we look after those 2 or 3 games. Because if we go 2-1 or 1-2, this loss will look just slightly better.
Yep.
But we need to get some sort of retribution for what we showed out on the court tonight. It's not enough. It's not good enough. It's not even going to be a play-in caliber team if this is what we look like.
Yeah, it kind of is like when we came out of the All-Star break, we beat Memphis, and we're like, okay, but tomorrow night we play the 76ers.
Yeah.
And we were like, that is the important game. We need to win this game.
Totally.
We lost that game, and that was one of my lowest points in the season.
Totally.
I don't care if it was James Harden's first game with them. I don't care if it was like a night of a back-to-back. I don't care if we were rusty from the All-Star break. I was low. It was bad moment because I was kind of on cloud 9 coming out of the All-Star break thinking, wow, we got rest. We beat the Grizzlies. It's time to really like impose our will on the West. And even though they're not the West. You know what I mean? Just winning, against good teams. And we didn't. We lost by 30. So that was really frustrating. But then after that, we beat Cleveland, we beat the Warriors, beat OKC, beat Portland again, beat OKC again, and then we lose tonight. So this could be that 76er game. Maybe we're down right now a little bit.
Nice.
But if we win tomorrow, I don't care less about tonight, but like it is somewhat of a wash, because then that's an acceptable thing. Like, okay, we win tomorrow, we have a great like ant game or something, and Jared brings up a great point in chat. I was surprised the Wolves didn't bench Ant tonight. My original thought process last week when he was hurt, I was like, you know what? I bet they rest him all the way through Friday's game, today's game, and play him for the Heat game. But I guess he's going to play on a back-to-back and see how that knee works. See how it works. So, yeah.
Gross. That's another good point. Like, why are we playing him on a back-to-back here again?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like this might have been like an Ant directive, and then what are we listening to a 20-year-old for? I feel like he wanted to find a rhythm before the Heat game. I remember him saying this post-game in another game versus like OKC or something, where he was like trying to get a rhythm for that game.
Yeah.
Like, I remember him specifically mentioning it. Well, I don't know, man. Playing in a back-to-back, that's the doozy.
Yeah.
I got nothing else for you guys. I'm sorry. I can't watch these East Coast games. So I'm going to just be here more of like a therapy, like therapist, kind of like guiding through the game log and not necessarily input a lot of opinion here, but I hope it was at least a good game to watch. If not, like, hope for tomorrow, because there's probably something in there, the game that like is
Yeah, I mean, if you wanted
I got
to,
nothing.
You could watch the first quarter and a half, and you'd feel decent.
Yeah.
You'd feel pretty good. Don't watch the second half of the second quarter,
or
at least the last like 4 minutes or so.
Yeah.
And then don't watch the third quarter. You could watch the fourth quarter for science, just so you could see that we missed a lot of shots.
We got it. We pulled it within one though.
Yeah, we did. I mean, we were like, that's what I'm saying. Like, we hit a couple extra shots, like that. It can just change. Like, obviously we lost by 8, but like if we take the lead there, that changes Orlando's everything, and then we can maybe go on a run. It's just a game of runs, and like if we could have just scored a couple more points there, maybe Orlando gets nervous. They're a young team. They can't. They're scared seeing Malik Beasley, who just shot for 11 threes. So
I think that was about to happen too.
Yeah, I think I felt it. I was like, wow, I was just so down after that third quarter, but now I'm feeling like we're in it. But just didn't happen. But
oh well.
Looking forward, so tomorrow, as we've been talking about pretty much the whole show, we play the Heat at 7 p.m. at Miami. And then we continue that road trip to San Antonio on Monday, 7:30 game Central. So we play the Heat tomorrow. That's a big boy game. We got to win that game. And if we don't, I think if we don't win tomorrow's game, it's basically a lock that we're the 7th seed. There's just not really an opening. We would have to just go on an insane run against crazy, crazy good teams.
You're right.
So I think tomorrow is a really, really big game. And I do think that the players view it as that. And I don't even think it's a Jimmy Butler thing. I think it's just purely that we're playing a good team, and we need to win. Like, we need wins in bunches right now, and we just lost to one of the worst teams in the East. But then we play the Lakers at home on Wednesday. Who knows? I mean, the Lakers, I feel like, are a wild card right now. I don't have any confidence in the Lakers, but at the same time, you just think that a team with that amount of talent or that amount of money would step up at some point. And then you play the Bucks on next Saturday. So it is a tough stretch. And then even after that, I mean, the 3 games after that is Dallas, Phoenix, Dallas. So, these are the next 2 weeks decide our fate.
I think so.
Play-in wise, we're pretty good. The Clippers did lose tonight. My camera just stopped. Oh, everything just stopped for a second. But we're back. Sorry, and we're almost done, I promise. But the next 2 weeks really just decide everything. We're gonna win the play-in. I mean, we're gonna be in the play-in game no matter what. But it's just nerve wracking right now. So we will be back on Friday. Nope, tomorrow night. My goodness.
Yeah.
Tomorrow night. After the Timberwolves play the Heat. So keep an eye out here. Turn the bell on so you know when we go live. Follow our Discord so that you know when we're doing game threads in there. We also post when we're going live in there. Follow us on Twitter and like the video, share the video, subscribe, leave window concepts in the comments. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Did you have any final words?
No, good show by you. And if you
Perfect.
guys are tuning in after the fact, stop watching.
Yes. Stop watching now. Okay, intro as the outro. 52 wins is still possible.
Don't play.
See you tomorrow night.
See ya.